Welcome to Provisional, the podcast. Previously a recruiting manager and now as your host, my name is Amanda Oink. We have Kristi joining us today from Provisional Recruiting, and she is a recruiting manager for the Commercial and Labor Department. What you do at Provisional and what your day-to-day looks like.
Okay. I am the Commercial Labor Division recruiting manager. I used to work with Amanda until she left. And so now I have it solo, and I'm basically a matchmaker. I have clients that come to me needing positions filled, and I do recruiting, advertising, I review resumes, I do interviews with potential candidates, and then I try to match them up with the right positions, hoping to make a love match between my clients and my candidates. The candidates love the job, the clients love them, and everybody wins.
I like it. So we used to work together pretty closely in the same division. And you did start out as doing administrative work primarily for Provisional, right?
I did over 20 years ago. My first job in Spokane was working through Provisional. They placed me as a temporary employee in the field, and I worked at a temporary client's office for about almost a year as a receptionist and admin assistant. And then when I was done with that job, I went back to Provisional, and they hired me internally as a receptionist.
That's awesome.
And I worked there for 5 years doing that. And then I took time off to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I came back as a receptionist and then promoted to an office administrator, taking on a lot more responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And then with COVID and everybody working remotely and being a change in the workforce, they didn't need a receptionist any longer, so I moved into a recruiter role.
And that's where you joined me, which was perfect timing because then I found out I was pregnant. So it worked out really seamlessly. And I obviously know the trials that we always kind of would go through as far as hiring, meeting new clients, things like that. So there is a lot of that matchmaking that goes in there. But what are some of the newer things that maybe I've never even witnessed in my time being there, like struggles that you have now?
Well,
kind of coming out of COVID.
I think the biggest struggle that's not just in the staffing industry, but across all of Spokane and probably all across the state is we were expecting, after all the government stimuluses and the extra unemployment and all of the government assistance stuff died down, that people would be returning to the workforce in droves. And it's been returning to the workforce in trinkles, little drops of people. There's so many people still not working that it makes it very challenging. We have so many clients that have openings and we don't have the candidates to fill them. People are not applying for jobs. It's starting to get better, but it's definitely not the great return to work that we were expecting. And it's been really challenging to find good quality candidates for our clients.
Yeah. And before that, obviously, I worked with Provisional for about 2.5 years. And so before that, I mean, it was pretty seamless finding the candidate, interviewing them, getting them drug screened, background checked, and then placed immediately. Obviously, commercial had always had kind of an issue with placing candidates so easily. However, it's never been this challenging. Mm-hmm. So do you like your position as far as working as a recruiter and kind of pivoting with all these new changes?
I like it more than I thought I would. When I first started working at Provisional back in the late 90s, my boss came to me and tried to get me to be a recruiter, and he's tried for many years to promote me to recruiting, and I just didn't really want the extra responsibility and pressure of doing that. But it's actually been a really fun transition, and I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I love interacting with the clients and dealing with the candidates more one-on-one and trying to help them find work. It's been fun, and of course getting to work with you was a lot of fun.
I know, we did have a lot of fun. That's why I miss work. And then as far, let's see, what else should we talk about in your position? What are positions that you see that you need mass amounts of people because Spokane, a little bit of a background for anyone that doesn't live in Spokane and happens to listen to this, there is a large industrial area of Spokane, especially in the valley. So a lot of these places need large amounts of people to start at the same time. So what kind of companies are you seeing the most need right now?
Probably production people,
Okay.
lots of manufacturing businesses looking for people who can do assembly, production, working in their warehouse, just some more skilled trades like welders. And I've also gotten quite a few upper level construction positions like
That's crazy.
project managers, estimators, some positions like that that I don't normally have opportunity to work on. And I just got contacted by a client today, a potential client, needing to fill 60 positions in their facility. Of course, they're looking to other staffing services as well to help them,
Yeah.
so I don't get to do them all by myself. But a lot of production people is what I could use right now.
Yeah. And then what are the wages that start for these types of positions?
Well, anywhere from $15 an hour. Clear up on. I've got some clients offering as much as $19 an hour for
really
for
good.
somebody who's already had previous experience. So the wages are improving all the time as people struggle to find quality candidates. They're offering more money for the positions, which is nice for everyone except for maybe the client.
Yeah. And as far as that goes too, do you ever have an issue kind of connecting the client once they realize prices and what they would be paying as far as percentages and things like that? Is it hard to kind of seal the deal?
Well, I expected that to be a problem, but I don't think it really has been. Clients usually will try to fill their own positions on their own before reaching out to us, and they've all had the exact same issues trying to find candidates, the struggle to find good quality candidates, the same that we've had.
Yeah.
And so we've had a lot of places that normally wouldn't reach out to a staffing service, seeking us out for our help and our services. And when you tell them that you're going to have to offer more money to fill the position, they usually have already realized that themselves and are just waiting for somebody else to tell them the same thing. And it hasn't been too hard to get them to up their prices a little bit, their pay a little bit.
Which is good. I mean, obviously, like you said, besides the client, it is great to get, solid people coming into your workforce. So as far as hiring someone, you're hiring someone for the long term. And as that too, do you see longevity kind of lasting a little bit longer with people that you do hire? What's kind of the struggle there?
I wish I could say yes, but I don't think that we have yet tapped the market for good quality candidates. I think the good quality people are still not coming back to work. I'm getting a lot of people who don't want to work very hard, can't pass a drug screen, can't pass a background check, don't have good work history.
Yeah.
And so it's been really hard to ferret out the people that are really good quality candidates.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then as far as finding new clients too, are you guys having a lot more people just come to you at that point? Since they are struggling, they're now looking to kind of pass the torch to someone else as far as doing the hiring process.
I'm sorry, what are
Like, do clients come more out of the woodworks? Like people that we've wanted to work with kind of before in the past, have they come to us now?
Absolutely. In fact, the person that reached out to me today needing the 60 positions is someone that our owner has been wanting to work with for a long time.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot more variety of positions and having opportunity to work with a lot more companies than we did before.
Yeah. When you're looking for those higher end positions too, what kind of platforms are you using? What do you see the most candidates come through?
Well, it's been interesting. We've been trying a lot of different things, and we actually just hired somebody to work in our office whose sole responsibility is to try and source more candidates for us. Craigslist was always a go-to for years. It found so many resumes that way, and that has pretty much just died off. Like I just do not get resumes from Craigslist anymore. I haven't even been bothering to advertise there.
And that used to be solely commercial was Craigslist.
So good. I have gotten a few of these higher end positions. I had a position in Seattle area that I'm recruiting for, and I have got quite a few resumes off of Craigslist there. But in Spokane area, that's really not working anymore. So we've been trying other avenues, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, bolstering our own website, advertising, WorkSource, Facebook just took down their advertising board. I used to get a lot of resumes from Facebook, and they've made that impossible now by taking down all their job boards.
That's crazy.
So I can still post things on our website, our Facebook.
Yeah.
Our homepage, but I can't advertise on Facebook job boards anymore.
Facebook just took it.
They just took it completely down. I'm guessing they're probably going to come up with something where they're charging people and not allowing the free posting anymore.
Exactly.
But who knows?
And also in your position too, so you work closely with Dixie and Heidi, which are the other recruiters in the office. How obviously do job boards change for them too? Have they seen more resumes come through in different areas than they've maybe seen in the past?
I think so. I know that they're getting more resumes than they had been previously and having more opportunities to place people. But it's a struggle across the board through all industries to find good quality candidates.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a while.
It has been.
I know we had kind of a good string of getting people employed immediately after COVID had hit. And I think the reason for that was just no one was getting their benefits through unemployment. Everything was backed up. So everyone had to work. But doesn't that run out for people, or shouldn't it run out at some point?
Usually it has a cap of about 25 or 26 weeks, I believe.
Okay.
I don't quote me on that, but yeah, eventually it's going to run out. So I don't know how people, and for a lot of people, it probably already has run out because if they weren't working during COVID, they won't qualify for unemployment. If you haven't been working, you don't qualify for unemployment. Yeah. So at some point, for a lot of these people, it probably has already run out. So I don't know how they're living without a job.
I don't either. It's very weird. Like I said, I have had a brush with unemployment recently, and it is not my favorite thing to do. And I don't know how people stay on it for so long. Yeah. It's not a great, I don't know. It's just doesn't fulfill you in any way. Sure, I can pay a bill, but I'm not very excited, to be honest. And then as far as looking for candidates too, obviously, I don't know if they will listen to our podcast at some point. What are some helpful things that you can give to candidates that kind of gives them a little bit more understanding on why it's probably a good idea to get off of unemployment and go back to work? Like, what's something you would say?
Well, unemployment is supposed to be there for those emergency times when you get fired or you have to leave because of an illness with yourself or your family members. Unemployment serves a purpose. It's not just so that you can stay home and not work. It's not your alternate income.
Yes.
So people who are using up all of their 25, 26 weeks, however much they're allowed to have, if they're using it all up now when they don't have to, it's not going to be available to them when they need it for emergency reasons.
Yeah.
So the sooner you can get back to work and get a steady income going and a steady job history, that's going to help you in the future when you actually really need unemployment for emergency reasons.
Yeah. And obviously you've stayed with Provisional over the years too, so you have longevity in your career. What's kind of advice on that too, finding a job that obviously you can grow with and stay with? And I mean, we're a little different because we have a great boss. But what are some things that you can say to someone as far as maybe look at a temporary opportunity as something as a long-term as well?
You should always consider any temporary opportunity as an opportunity for long-term employment, because if you do a great job, someone will hire you permanently. They don't want to lose you. In the same way, you can take a permanent job and get fired in 2 weeks if you're not doing a good job. A long-term job, a permanent job, is not a permanent job. If it doesn't work out for both parties, then you're going to get let go anyways. So why not take the temporary job that's available and give it a try? And also, people need to use a staffing service. If they're looking for a long-term position that's a good fit for them, a staffing service is absolutely the way to go, because the staffing service has a personal relationship with the people in that business. They know the culture of that business. They know the right kind of fit, the kind of candidates they're going to be a good fit for that business and fit in.
And you've toured it.
We've toured the facilities. We've met the clients, and we have details about the job that you're not going to find just applying through an ad you found on the internet.
Yeah.
So go through a staffing service. It doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free, and we're going to help you find the right fit that's good for you and your client and our client. And if it's not a great match, then we will keep working until we find you the good match.
And I honestly, I mean, I can advocate for that. Obviously you can too. Anyone that's walked through Provisional at one point or another, old friends that have worked there, past employees, we've all started somewhere temporary. I came to Provisional when I first moved to Washington, and it was the first place that I got a call back on a resume. I'm pretty sure you called me.
It was probably me.
And you set up an appointment for me to see Dixie because I had some medical background.
Right.
And so I met with Dixie, and then I ended up filling in for a little while over the holidays while everyone was off doing their things. And then I stayed, and it stuck, and it was such a great opportunity. And I had never used a recruiting agency ever in my life before. I'd always had known someone to give me a job, or just knew a friend of a friend in order to get in somewhere. So it was very refreshing, and probably the best experience I've ever had using a recruiting agency.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think more people need to give recruiting agencies a chance. That was something I noticed as well. I know there's a lot of recruiting agencies that sometimes don't have that personal touch, and they don't take care of their candidates, which can lead to a lot of sour people. I would experience a lot of that where they would find out we were a recruiting agency and instantly be turned off from having an interview. Do you still run into that problem as far as...
You know, when I first started working in the staffing industry, working for Provisional back in 1999, we always upfront tell people we're a staffing service. And so often people would be like, oh, I'm not working with a staffing service. I don't need a middleman to help me find a job. I'm not going to pay any fees to you. Well, we don't charge any fees. Staffing services charging fees is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And
because no one does that now, right?
only headhunter services
Okay.
where you're paying them to go out and find employment for you.
Okay.
So it's a different situation now. Staffing services have a much better reputation now, especially Provisional. We've always had excellent reputation in town, and I really don't run into people very often anymore that are opposed to using a staffing service. Most people have had some type of experience with a staffing service at some point in their career.
Yeah. See, and that's what I like to hear, because I remember there was a little bit of a few sour apples that I would meet. I would have to turn them on to the whole staffing thing and
That's
maybe
right.
play a little bit. But yeah, so, and then as far as drug screening goes too, I know that's always been kind of an issue. Washington is legal now with marijuana all
It
across
is.
the board, or it has been for a little bit. Doesn't that, and I know Idaho isn't. So is that still kind of an issue that you run into as well?
It's still a huge issue. It hasn't really gotten any better since Washington legalized marijuana. It's not federally legal, and a lot of the clients and states are not legal.
Yeah.
And so clients tend to frown upon that. I have a couple of clients who are okay with it and don't require drug testing, but most of them do still require it. But I think at some point, and the clients are starting to talk this way too, at some point it's going to have to be treated the same as alcohol. If you're high on the job, if you're smoking on the
Fair.
job, if partaking,
And
then
I
you're
feel
going
like
to get
you
fired.
can tell when someone's been smoking or drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely tell when
So if it's impairing their ability to do their job, then they're going to get fired, or
Yeah.
or at least warned or penalized. So I at some point it will have to move to that's being treated the same way as alcohol.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree with that. All right. So, and then basically we can go on to some fun things now. So what are some exciting things you've learned about yourself since taking on your role from going from administrator to going into recruiting?
I don't know if there's anything exciting about me.
Of course there
I
is.
never thought that I would like recruiting. It's more responsibility, and
Yeah.
it's not a strictly 8 to 5 kind of job. Sometimes my clients need things on the weekends or on the evenings, and I didn't think I would like that, but I've actually enjoyed that part of the job. I enjoy feeling that I'm being useful to my client, and that I'm able to help them when they need me. I've enjoyed working with the clients. It's a lot of fantastic people running companies in Spokane. I'm
And they're
daily,
great.
daily
Like,
impressed by the professionalism and the friendliness and the common sense that these people bring to their jobs. I've also had a really fun time working more with the clients, or with the candidates, I mean, one-on-one, and helping them find work. And for the ones that are good workers and deserve to have a good job, it's really satisfying to be able to help them provide for their families and pay their bills and help them set their path on a strong career.
yeah. See, and it is. There's a lot of rewarding parts of being a recruiting manager and placing and making that connection for people.
And I especially love when I have a candidate who I've placed somewhere and they come back, a few months or a few
That's
years
my
later,
favorite. That's what I was
and
gonna say.
they're like, "Hey, you helped me before, and I really appreciate it. Can you help me again?" And I love that we're getting repeat customers.
It puts a whole different spin on it.
Yeah.
It takes anything negative that happened that week and totally turns it around when
It
someone
really
comes
does.
back. I agree with that for sure. And it's so funny that you also don't think of yourself as someone, well, before you took on this role, you didn't think of someone that would like to work on the weekends. You are the most hardworking workhorse person I've ever seen and met in my life. When I was like at the end of about to have a baby and you would work so hard, I was like, Kristi's got it. I have nothing to worry about. I tried to leave a week early and Eric wouldn't let me. It's like, I swear, Kristi really has it handled. I'm just monitoring emails at this point.
It's gone pretty well, better than I expected, I guess.
Yeah, you took it on great, and I mean, I never had a doubt leaving my position in your hands ever.
Having 20 years of staffing experience under my belt certainly helped.
I mean, you've definitely dabbled in it for everyone. So, and then also, what do you most enjoy about your job?
Oh, I will be honest. The thing I enjoy the absolute most is working for Provisional. Our owner, Eric, and my coworkers, Heidi and Dixie, Stephanie, Amanda, when she's there, absolutely makes me get up in the morning. They are so much fun. I never dread going to work. I never dread showing up at Provisional and getting to spend the day with those fantastic people. We have so much fun every day.
It's true. It's really fun office.
But other than that, I just enjoy the interactions with my clients and my candidates. When it's a successful match and I've partnered up good people together, it's very satisfying.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I already knew the answer to that question was going to be asked, but I had to ask it anyways.
Of course.
So, and then do you have anything else that you'd like to add about commercial and recruiting? Kind of, I guess we could touch a little bit on skilled labor too. So is it hard to find skilled laborers at this time too?
I feel like it's actually been a little bit easier than usual. I'm not sure why that is, but I have some welding positions available. I've been getting welder resumes like crazy.
Awesome.
I've been getting forklift resumes like crazy. I've actually had an easier time staffing my mediumly skilled positions versus my just general entry level production positions.
That's awesome. That makes me feel happier about everything. So this has been Kristi with us and the Provisional podcast. Thank you for joining us today and taking time out of your busy recruiting life
Thank you for having
meeting
me.
with us, of course.